This is the May 12th special city council meeting in the city of Crescent Springs. Have a roll call, please.
Bob Miller.
Here.
Mark Whitmer.
Here.
Jeff Smith.
Here.
Don Riley.
Here.
Janine Bell Smith.
Present.
Carol McGowan. Here.
Thank you. First order of business is the minutes from April 28th, 2025 council meeting for approval. You'll receive those.
Make a motion to approve.
Is there a second? Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Bob Miller.
Yes.
Mark Whitmer. Jeff Smith.
Yes.
Don Riley.
Yes.
Janine Bell Smith.
Yes.
Carol McGowan.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Mayor's report, nothing really to report from the last meeting, except I did follow up with Mr. Flaherty. It does seem that trash is being picked up a little bit more often than it was, so we are working on getting the city streets as clean as we can. I actually saw Public Works out there today up on Buttermilk, so we are working on that. And that is all that I have at this time. Mr. Daly?
Thank you, Mayor Doherty. I have a few items to cover in my report. I also emailed the South Team on Friday. I've also emailed you a few separate emails from this report. First thing is presentations and scheduled items. Rob Hines from PDS will be here on July 14th for the caucus meeting, and he will be doing a presentation. Project updates. 627 Buttermilk Pike, the former Crescent Springs Church. The demolition and the grading process. The demolition is scheduled for 5/19, and that's going to be done by Dudley Construction Company. And then the grading process will be another company that will come in separately to start that process. And I'm sure everybody can see that the fence has been installed around the site. And Duke Energy was in town last week on Buttermilk, disconnecting utility services. And the Northern Kentucky Water District was also there that day, and they completed their disconnection of the site itself. Crescent Drain Project, this remains on schedule. And is expected to be completed by the end of June. The Eubanks Drain Project, that work began last Wednesday, and it's actually completed. I did place some pictures on your desk that show the work that was completed. The final cost for that project was $11,000. Sierra Drive, ADA ramp installation. This be scheduled to begin the week of this week, actually, and the work has been delayed, obviously, because of the rain. Road striping, scheduled to start later this month. Work is weather dependent and requires, obviously, dry conditions. All striping will be conducted at night to reduce traffic disruption. Second page, planning and zoning, the Z21 tax amendments. The application was reviewed by the full Kenton County Planning Commission, ACPC, during the meeting on June 5th, 2025. Mike Baker, our city attorney, will represent the city in my absence. And if you go further down the line, we'll get to that, why I will not be there. Community services. The residential solid waste and recycling collection, best way, consideration is needed on whether to issue an informational release to our residents regarding the new service.
Assuming that's what passes.
Correct. So that's something we need to think about, which I'm sure we're all on the same page that will definitely need to be done if that were to come to fruition. Community engagement, ribbon cutting ceremony. Integrity Dental, it's a new business that's located next to the Roses that has come into town. I sent this email out to everybody. It's a ribbon cutting ceremony and grand opening event that's scheduled for Thursday, June 5th. at 5:30 p.m. And the last thing is I will be out of town from Tuesday, June 3rd to Sunday, June 8th. And I do believe that's all I have. If there's any questions.
I
Try it
have
again.
one question.
Yes, ma'am.
On pictures 1, 2, and 3, it looks like it was drainage work that was done. Obviously, the whole project was drainage. But were there underground pipes put there?
Say
For
again.
drainage, was there pipes put underground for some of the drainage? Mainly looking at pictures 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah, that project centered around enlarging that pipe, because it was causing flooding in the roadway and also in that resident's front yard. It was starting to back up to the steps, where that person lived, and that pipe, remaining small as it was, not able to handle it. But the project did turn out well.
Mike, with that outline media, would that be presentation of the
No, that will be on code enforcement. As far as Ireland goes, I have a meeting this week with Mr. Baker and Mr. Matt Smith. He's an attorney as well out of Mike Baker's office. And we're kind of looking into whether or not the original development agreements and site plan approval from 2007 is valid. Or whether the recently updated Z21 zoning regulations would supersede or invalidate those previous entitlements. So that's kind of the next step of where we're at with that project. I will keep everybody updated on what comes from that. Other than that, Mayor, that's all I have.
Anything else, Mr. Bailey? Thank you. Next is second reading ordinance 2025-2. Mr. Baker.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance 2025-2, an ordinance of the city of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, that amends section 72.06 of the Code of Ordinances for the city of Crescent Springs relating to enforcement regarding abandoned vehicles. Whereas the Crescent Springs Code of Ordinances, section 72.06, subsection B, is provided that any member of the police department of the city is authorized to remove or have removed any vehicle that is deemed abandoned. And whereas said ordinance was amended by ordinance 2001-9 to limit the enforcement of this ordinance to any member of the police department, and whereas an amendment is necessary to allow personnel delegated by the mayor to have the same power and duty with regard to abandoned vehicles. Now therefore be it ordained by the mayor and the city council of the city of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, that section 72.06 subsection B of the Code of Ordinances regarding abandoned vehicles is hereby amended to read as follows. Section 1, 72.06, abandoned vehicles. Any member of the police department authorized to operate in the city or any personnel is delegated by the mayor is authorized to remove or have removed any vehicle left in any place within the city which reasonably appears to be in violation of this section. The vehicle shall be impounded until lawfully claimed or disposed of. Any vehicle abandoned on a street or highway shall be removed and disposed of in conformity with appropriate city ordinances or KRS 189.751. Section 2, all ordinances or parts of ordinances that conflict herewith are to the extent of such conflict hereby repealed. This ordinance shall be effective from its passage and publication according to law.
Thank you very much. Any conversation on this? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second? I'll second. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Bob Miller,
Yes.
Mark Wertenberger,
Yes.
Jeff Smith,
Yes.
Don Kiley,
Yes.
Janine Bell Smith,
Yes.
Carol McGowan,
Yes.
Thank you very much. Next item, ordinance 2025-3, proposal from Bestway Disposal.
Ordinance 2025-3, an ordinance of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, accepting a proposal from Best Way Disposal for solid waste collection services. Whereas the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky issued a request for proposal, RFP, for solid waste collection services, and whereas bids were received in a time specified in the RFP, and whereas a bid from Best Way Disposal, wherein as part of the agreement, the city agrees to pay Best Way Disposal directly, and therefore the city will assess each property owner a prorated portion of the contract for reimbursement of the cost paid to Best Way Disposal at the time property tax bills are issued. And whereas City Council has reviewed each of the bids received and finds that the bid made by Best Way Disposal, wherein the city agrees to pay Best Way Disposal directly, and therefore assess each property owner a prorated portion of the contract for reimbursement of costs paid to Best Way Disposal is the best bid. Now therefore be it ordained by the mayor and the City Council of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, that the bid offered by Best Way Disposal dated February 19, 2025, for the rate set forth in the proposal, wherein the city agrees to pay Best Way Disposal directly, and therefore assess each property owner a prorated portion of the contract for reimbursement of the costs paid to Best Way Disposal, is hereby accepted and approved. The mayor is hereby authorized to execute on behalf of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, any agreement with Best Way Disposal incorporating said bid.
Thank you very much. Is there any discussion on this? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
A motion that we approve ordinance 2025-3, an ordinance of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, accepting a proposal from the Best Way Disposal for solid waste collection services.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Bob Mueller,
Yes.
Mark Rutenberger,
Yes.
Jeff Smith,
Yes.
John Kylie,
Yes.
Jenny Bell Smith,
Yes.
Carol McCowen,
I'm going to abstain.
Thank you very much. And to go back to something that the city administrator had in his report, want to put together a communication and work with the two entities for the transition. I thank both Rumpke and Best Way for their time and their proposals. Congratulations to Best Way for their winning bid. We look forward to a good relationship as we move forward. Thank you very much. Thank you. Next is ordinance 2025-4. This is the first reading.
Ordinance 2025-4, an ordinance of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, adopting the annual budget for the fiscal year July 1, 2025 through June 30, 2026, by estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the operation of city government. Whereas an annual budget proposal and message has been prepared and delivered to City Council, and whereas the City Council has reviewed said budget proposal and made the necessary modifications, now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, Section 1, that the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30, 2026 is hereby adopted as attached hereto as Exhibit A and incorporated herein by reference as it fully set forth. Subsection 2, this ordinance shall become effective July 1, 2025. Section 3, the invalidity of the exception of this ordinance shall not affect the validity of any other section.
Thank you very much. Council, you all received a copy of the budget a couple weeks ago. Finance Committee approved to move forward to you all. In my review of this today, going over it to make sure, I do see that there's one footnote that I missed, and I apologize for that. So on line 5101, and then for office payroll, you'll see that there's an increase. And in there I am putting I want to start looking for an assistant city clerk, like we've had in the past. It gives us the opportunity to do things more completely, people time off. Right now, you know, if Mr. Daly's at a conference and April gets sick, we have no one here to answer the phone, or the other way around, or it makes it very difficult to run the office just with the one person. So that is in that budget. All the other footnotes, as far as I can tell, are correct. And I do apologize for that omission.
The full-time position.
That's what's in there as budgeted, yes. Depends on who we can find, you know. I'm not advertising anything until after the budget's approved, so, but it is budgeted for full-time.
We need a motion for that.
No, it's, the only first reading. Yeah. So that's next week, or that's at the June meeting.
Mayor, I'd like to say I appreciate you meeting with me and going over some of the budget issues. You met with me a couple times, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day to do that. Also, I'd like to thank Tanya for supplying the vehicle report on all her vehicles and the information of the trucks being taken out, sir. I know it's a lot of work. I appreciate it.
She did a very great document there for you, and happy to meet with you anytime, and anybody else on council as well, too. You know, to have open discussions is a great thing. Even if you don't agree to everything, we have a very, very good positive discussion. We agree on most things, quite honestly, but willing to sit down with anybody at any time.
I have a question.
Yes,
In the 2024, 2025 budget, we have more expenses than we have proposed. Did we go over budget and come out with a deficit?
No, we did not.
Any other questions? Mr. Baker, reading ordinance 2025-5.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 2025-5, an ordinance of the city of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, amending ordinance number 2024-2, approving the annual budget of July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025. Whereas the city wishes, in accordance with the laws of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, to amend its budget for the current fiscal year to reflect actual revenue and actual expenditures. And whereas the city has previously enacted ordinance 2024-2, adopting an annual budget for the fiscal year July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025. Now therefore be ordained by the City Council of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, Section 1, that the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024 and ending June 30, 2025, which was originally adopted as ordinance 2024-2, is hereby amended, as shown on the attached Exhibit A, which is incorporated herein by reference, is it fully set forth. Section 2, the invalidity of any section of this ordinance shall not affect the validity of any other section.
Thank you very much. Again, that's just the first reading of that for the budget, so vote on that will be at the June meeting. That's all we have for the special meeting. I'll take a motion to adjourn the special meeting.
I motion we adjourn the special meeting.
I'll take a second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you all very much. Caucus meeting, mayor's report. My only thing was the item on the budget, we covered that last time. City administrator, I assume we've already covered your reports.
Yes, sir.
Any old business that anyone has they want to discuss?
I'd like to bring up the problem that's over in Old Crescent Springs at the corner of Ferncliff and Euclid. And I'd like to know if the city would consider working with SD1 to take care of the above water when it rains heavily, the man that lives on the corner.
They spoke here a couple weeks ago. I thought he and Tanya were going to meet. Did that not happen?
It's gone nowhere.
Okay.
And I'm being told that could be considered if anything goes through with Old Crescent Springs being worked on, That won't happen this budget, it's not in this current budget. So I would like to know if our city could talk to SD1 and something could be worked out between the two of them. And we could potentially apply for grants like we did on Harris Street.
Absolutely. I thought we were ready to stop moving forward. That's why I apologize, and
No, it's-
I will,
it was out of Tanya's hands. Thank you.
any other old business? Chief, look like you're ready to go, brother.
Well, I am, but I might need 9 minutes because I pushed the block off to about 6:30, just depending upon how long the discussion is going to be. I'll go ahead and try to join the meeting to see if Mark will be able to get on there.
Okay.
Just a little preface on it. This is Mark Solano. I'll see. Hopefully the technology works. He's going to be viewing probably right here, guys. So, but he should be able to hear all questions, everything. If there's questions that need to be repeated, I can ask him and he should be able to answer. But the audio should play through this.
Somebody will be here at 6:30, is that?
They are not going to be here. It's on Zoom.
Okay, this is it.
Yeah, they're on Zoom. They're based out of Texas.
Okay.
Or at least that's where he is, I should put. So let me see if I can.
Not my favorite way.
See how. I did give everybody a copy of the packet that was forwarded to me from Flock Safety, so for you guys' review, if you want to take a few minutes to peruse it, I know that's what Mr. Solano is going to talk about, so.
So just as a reminder to everybody who may be listening for the first time here, this is SWAT cameras, and Chief, correct me if I'm incorrect. SWAT cameras are cameras that are traditionally high usage intersections.
They're usually-
You do license plate reading.
They are license plate reader cameras that are usually located obviously on public roadways, not on private roadways, at high density volumes, entry and exit points, so egress and ingress points of cities, boundaries, municipality boundaries, and things like that. So,
And looking on your screen there, it looks like there's somebody else there.
yeah, it does. As a matter of fact, I was.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Mark, how you doing? Sorry, we're trying to work this and everything like that. This is obviously, the mayor you're seeing in front of you here is Mayor Daugherty here. I know it's kind of a limited site here, but we do have all council present, so I'm going to kind of turn it over to you, sir, that you can, they each have a copy of your packet as well, and then they are viewing it up on our main screen behind us as well.
All right, perfect. Well, hi, everyone. Just want to make sure, quick thumbs up that everyone can hear it and see me.
Push this microphone down towards you.
It should be playing through on this. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, guys.
Mayor, council, and just a quick thumbs up if y'all can hear me.
It was playing earlier, so. And my volume is all the way up, guys. Can everybody hear that, or is that too quiet?
Any chance everyone can hear me?
Which,
Can't get as low as possible.
this one?
Like I said.
Is it on?
Hi, everyone. Any chance y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I'm glad to fix it. Well, look, I'm happy to present, and then Chief, I'll appreciate the opportunity to do so. Mayor, council, I'll have a presentation here, and I'll work through the slides, and I'll do my best to be clear. I know I want to make sure everyone can hear, and also I want to make sure that I can answer any questions y'all may have. So I'll go ahead and get started. I realize that I can change the slide that I'm looking at behind y'all, so I'll go slide by slide and make sure that y'all know where I am and make sure that I can answer any questions y'all have. So just to start, look, my name is Mark Solano. I have the privilege of representing Flock Safety here. I serve as their public. It's supported by our dedication to collaborative policing. And this approach boosts the productivity of every officer, allowing law enforcement agencies to enhance their crime-solving abilities and improve community safety and community quality of life. And as you can see on the quote in the bottom right-hand corner, just from Yakima PD, great things to say from all the folks we work with across the country. Our next slide here, I want to call out a couple of things. You're going to notice two large numbers at the bottom of this slide. That's at 85 and 65. I don't want to read word for word here, but there's a common thread, and that is law enforcement, first responders across the country are facing staffing shortages. They see here 85% of those polled are facing an officer shortage, and 65% of agencies report having too few sworn officers. And so again, that common thread is that across the country, agencies are being asked to do more with less. And so here at Flock, we want to make sure that we're working with law enforcement agencies, working with anyone we can to provide law enforcement with the best tools available in order to assist in meeting those challenges. My next slide here, this is what we're going to be talking about tonight. This is the license plate reader. Now, apologies ahead of time if I call it an LPR or call it a Falcon. We'll go ahead, for the purposes of this conversation, call it an LPR, or a license plate camera. The focus of these devices and what they do and how they work is that they detect, decode, and deliver, and serve as a force multiplier for law enforcement agencies, and provide law enforcement with what we call precision policing and objective evidence, so they can go and get the job done. Here on this slide, I'd like to cover a few capabilities of what the Flock LPR can do. These devices are fixed position. I think I heard the chiefs mention that earlier. These are fixed position devices, and they take still images of vehicles that pass by. The image is a focus on the back of the vehicle with a greater focus on the actual license plate. And that image is then cross-referenced through a few systems that are very familiar to law enforcement. They've been around for a while. And those systems are Amber Alert systems, Silver Alerts, NCIC, which is National Center for additionally the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And there's also custom hot lists that can be put together by your local agency. And I'll get into it here in a bit, but those custom hot lists, those can be vehicles that are reported stolen. So car thefts or vehicles that were reported to be part of organized retail crime. There's a few things that law enforcement locally can do to create those custom hot lists. Additionally, I want to talk about what you're going to see on the system. So this will be accessible to law enforcement and also the chief. This is what when we talk about precision policing, this is what we talk about. So this is real-time alerts provided to your agency with indiscriminate and actual evidence. And as a note, we're seeing these devices as a true force multiplier for towns and cities that experience high levels of tourism, high levels of hit-and-run cases, and high levels of organized retail crime. And so what you're seeing on this slide, everyone, is the user interface for the Flock system that shows you really what your agency will be seeing on the back end. Next I'll cover, this is really the last item when it comes to our technical aspect, but we call it our fingerprint technology. And so look, we're not always in a place, it's not always a case situation that a license plate is remembered or reported. So your agency can search the system based on vehicle criteria. One example would be white Honda with a bike rack. You'll have the option of to put that into the system, which will create for you a greater precision in any ongoing cases or any investigation. So again, license plate numbers, great to have, not always available, as your chief can tell you. So this is our way of solving that problem and also giving law enforcement that tool in order to investigate and really work on the things they need to work on. Now, everyone, look, I've shouted about what the system can do. I also like to spend a couple minutes talking about what the system is not able to do. And so I won't read word for word on here, but I'll start with just a few on the left and then go over to the right. Here at Flock Safety, all the data, all the license plate data that is seen by the LPRs, all that data is owned by you, the customer. And we have a commitment that we will never sell it to any third parties. We will not share it without talking to you first. And additionally, again, all the data is owned by you. We just do our best to house it. We do our best to secure it in a CJIS certified server. And we do our best to protect that data so that no one else can see it unless you give them permission to do so. Additionally, at Flock Safety, we delete all data, this is by default, by 30 days. And we found that to be the sweet spot because in some cases, folks don't always know they're a victim of a crime. And it also gives law enforcement the ability and the time to really put a case together in order to use the system. And so at 30 days and 1 second, this is on a rolling basis, so in 30 days and 1 second, that data is deleted forever, and there is no way of getting it back. And we have been in some heartbreaking situations in cases where, we were just a couple of days late, or law enforcement were working with us, and because it was 2 days late and 3 days late, we were not able to assist in the ongoing case. Additionally, there is no individual data, personal data, tied to this system. What this system is able to tell you is what the car looked like and also the license plate number. On our end, Flock Safety, we do not have the ability to tell you who is driving the vehicle, what they look like, if the car had an associated crime to it. We can only tell you that this car passed by at this point in time, on this way going this direction. So we really just kind of kick it off, and a law enforcement then works to solve the case or work on the case. I'll move on to the right side when it comes to our accountability and transparency, because this is something that we take very seriously here at Flock Safety. When it comes to searching the system, every search and user number saved is in an available audit trail. And so what that means is that an officer can't jump into the system and just start searching randomly. They have to put in the case number, what it's about, and then the audit trail is also created. So when chief or whoever wants to take a look at this information to see who is in the system internally, they can see that this officer, this deputy was in the system searching for this reason, and this was the output that was created by it. So we just want to make sure that there's no risk for abuse, and we also want to make sure that the data that is housed in the system is responsibly utilized by everyone involved. The other thing that I will talk about is our last bullet point here on the right side, and I'll show it to you here soon. But this is our optional, which I highly encourage, our LPR transparency portal. I'll show you here in a couple of slides, but I'll talk about it here for a little bit. That transparency portal comes in the package. We help you build it out, and it showcases how and when and why the Flock system is used by Crescent Springs. And so it will also showcase if you're sharing your data with similar agencies, or if there's any agencies sharing their information with you. Again, all that is optional, and all the data is owned by you. So it's really your choice if you choose to share with a neighboring county or neighboring city. Again, it is all up to the decision of your policy and all up to the decision of the chief and the city. This is the website I was talking about. So we will assist in putting together this transparency portal that showcases all the insights. This also provides a measurable ROI when it comes to how are these devices being utilized. On the right-hand side, this is just an example. Again, it will be different for Crescent Springs if you choose so, but it showcases what's detected. This is really FAQ for anyone that has questions. So if you can see it close enough, but what's detected are license plates of vehicles. It also showcases the what's not detected. So no facial recognition, not gender nor race, sorry. Also goes into the hot list policy that is set by you at Crescent Springs. On the right hand, I'll showcase the usage for transparency and insight. So data retention is 30 days, the number of cameras that are being owned by y'all, and also any agencies I'll choose to share with. And so if you look closely on the right side of the screen, on the iPad there, it will showcase external organizations that have access. And again, it's all up to you if you choose to share the data with any agencies that may help anything they're working on, or you can keep it to yourself. This is live updated, and so every day it'll have a new result. But we found that when there are questions from the community, as soon as we provide this, a lot of those questions are answered. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have regarding the work that we're doing. But I'll go on to our next slide here. So this is our commitment to y'all. This is, we call it safety as a service. And with safety as a service, we want to make sure that we're working with you and your city to provide what you need. And what that means is that law enforcement needs to focus on law enforcement items. And so what we are committing to do with y'all, we have a great team that works incredibly hard to work directly with your city staff on permitting and planning and deployment, and also adjustments to device locations, and finding all those solutions in between. So by taking this approach, we're able to work with your departments to focus on their core responsibilities, which allows law enforcement agencies, allows the chief to dedicate their full attention and time to working on maintaining public safety and protecting communities. I do want to wrap this up. There are a few cases, and I'm not going to go through each one because it's a lot, but I do want to showcase a few cases around the country and also around the state that we've worked on. One recently, just in February of last year, there was unfortunately a silver alert that was had, and so we worked with the agency to find this individual that were driving the vehicle. We were very fortunate that the individual passed by one of Louisville's LPRs that they had set up. And because it was already identified and called in, and because it was a live case, they were able to dispatch and find the 84-year-old senior. They were able to return him home back to his family within the same day. There were stories like this across the state, across the country. Here's a case study on hit and run that happened in LaGrange back in July of 2023. The suspect was arrested. It was a hit and run, as I just mentioned. They were able to put together the case and utilized the LPR, and it was identified the suspect vehicle, and found that person was just parked a mile away from the actual crash and the hit and run. So again, this is where the crime happens. We want to make sure that law enforcement has the tools to do their work, to do their job, and by utilizing these lock systems, we're able to assist in finding the suspects. I will end it there, team. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I also want to provide Chief Paul the ability, and forgive me, I didn't hear everything he said, but if there's any questions on deployment or contracting, I'm happy to answer, and Chief Paul, I think, also knows those details as well. But I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
I appreciate the time and the presentation. One of our council members last week, or 2 weeks ago at our meeting, asked about data loss, and have you ever had a data breach? So I know I've done my research on the web, and I know what the internet says, but I don't believe the internet for everything. So what, if any, data breaches have you had?
We have never, I think I responded to the chief, we have never had an external hacking. Because I asked my team regarding the same question you asked me, I wanted to triple validate. We've never had anyone hack into our system. We have a great team that protects against that, and they work on that every day.
Roughly how long has Flock been in operation across the U.S.?
That's 7 years. I believe we just celebrated our 8th birthday just a few months ago.
I'm just making sure he can hear your questions, that's all.
I'm so sorry. Was it a...
No, Mark, no, you're fine. That answered the question, sir. I'm making sure that they hear the questions, and you're doing fine with that.
I just say never. It's never been breached. Never say never. It doesn't work that way. We've got AI, we've got Real ID with our new generation identification. We've got AI on us. We've got cameras on our homes, and now we're going to have cameras on our street watching and surveilling our cars 24/7, 365 days. I'm opposed to it. And I would like to see, as we talked earlier to you, let's look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's might be a lot of goodness here, which I will give you hands up on that one. There's also a lot of issues that basically need to be addressed. I have basically done a lot of homework lately, not enough that could be done, but I have all my documentation I've been working on for a couple of weeks since we spoke. And some of them say, in fact, we have one on our agenda that I think Mr. Daly, but it was things to know before your neighborhood installs an automated license plate reader. They forget to add the word automated, and it will be a camera on a pole. Mm-hmm. And I know we had talked, Chief, which I have great respect for our police, for let me know you that. Mm-hmm. You say, well, what's the difference between a camera and a policeman holding it? Well, I look at it this way. You know, if I can smash a camera, I'm going to be in trouble. But if I can smash you, it's going to be a whole new different story. So what I'm saying is, I don't see...
It's still a crime either way. It's still a crime.
Well,
both of them are crimes. They just have different penalties.
It's worse if you would hurt a policeman. That is absolutely... We just saw what happened over in Cincinnati.
Right.
Poor man's just trying to do a traffic light switch.
I'm just trying to find a correlation there. I'm sorry. I apologize.
What I'm saying is, he was doing nothing. And somebody decided that they should just take him out because they didn't like police. But my point is that policemen, your life is much more valuable than any camera.
I would agree with that.
That's sort of trying to make maybe I haven't made it clearly enough for you. Certainly can do better. But the false promises of license, they call license plate readers, they're called ALPRS. I think we should have a committee that we should get together and go over this, fine tooth and comb, and decide the good, the bad, and the ugly, and decide then if we want to push further. And I might also suggest that we might want to put this on the 2026 ballot and let the people decide what they want. If they want to have 24/7 surveillance on their cars and their transportation, then rather than have 6 people in this council say we approve it.
Okay. That is your right as a council member.
Any other comments or questions?
I got a question. Okay. Chief, say somebody up at 75 runs by the reader and it clicks on, we've got somebody. Mm-hmm. Does that just read that and advise, hey, we've seen this car, or does it actually call the police officer and send him to the?
So now that Flock is integrated with our dispatch center, if it's listed on, again, if it's an NCIC, okay, if it's in LINK, which LINK is Law Enforcement Network of Kentucky, NCIC is National Crime Information Center, if it's in for a missing adult, any of those, and it listed hot sheet, and if it pings and it drives by, it will make a notification to our dispatch. Our dispatch will then put out an attempt to locate, hey, Villa Hills 1, Villa Hills 7, Villa Hills whatever, attempt to locate, we had a reading, we had a hit on the LPR camera located at such and such location, be on the lookout. Then the onus is on the officer to try to locate that vehicle. Once located, then it has to be verified that that is the correct tag of that before a traffic stop's made or anything, and then we have all of our policies and our procedures that we follow behind that. But that's all that does. It makes a notification to the dispatch as far as that. No problem.
Chief, will there be a policy
Yes, there.
drafted and developed under the accreditation?
Yeah, so the policy basically will follow the KLC, which is Kentucky League of Cities, model policy as far as for LPRs, and that is a policy that's adopted through the Kentucky Association Chiefs of Police for LPRs and their usage. And that's part of the accreditation as well.
Also, here in most probably 6 months, there will be flock cameras in Villa Hills, Fort Mitchell,
Correct, sir.
and the city of Arlington.
Correct, sir. That is correct, sir.
I think that point that's already been covered, that we don't need to proceed with this ourselves.
Why is
If
that?
those cities choose to do that, then fine, but I don't think 6 of us can basically say that we're going to have 24 surveillance of our people as they move up and down the road.
I have them in my hometown where I live.
Well, that's fine.
And I have no issue with
If
it
you so
whatsoever
enjoy
because
that.
it allows my police department to have an extra tool for the safety of our community. I feel really good about it.
Chief, I can add I'm sorry, Councilor, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Then you will probably have neither, and I believe Benjamin Franklin said that.
But this is 2025 to me.
Mr. Solano had something further, if we don't mind, since he's on our meeting. Sorry, sir.
Just a quick note, like, I understand and hear these concerns. These are things that should be taken seriously. These are law enforcement tools. I'm sorry, Councilor, in front of me to my right, I can't read your name from here. But these devices, again, are force multipliers for law enforcement. And we like to compare them sometimes unfairly, to having law enforcement, like there's no difference between a law enforcement officer standing out there on the median, see people go by. To the point of these are 24/7 surveillance. These devices cannot tell you where a person is going to go. These are snapshots in time, and that's it. We can't tell you who drove it and where they went to and why they went there. Again, these are just snapshots in time, and as Chief mentioned, it's after the fact. They are notified if someone, I hate to say it, has a hit in the back of the trunk or is on NCIC. So look, I take those concerns very seriously. Hear you. But this tool, we work to it alongside law enforcement to make sure it's responsible and that it's responsible for the community.
So even though it's a camera, does it only record license plate text?
That's my understanding. Did you hear that, Mark?
That only showcases a license plate text?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, that's correct.
So does that make
Oh, I'm sorry, I should also add that because you're able to do a fingerprint search of the vehicle with fingerprints, the color, make, and model, we are also able to detail and tell you that as well. You'll see it on the photo. When there's a printout of the photo of the ongoing case, you'll see that it's a license plate, and then you can probably also make out that it's a white Honda.
Just saying that you can see that maybe it's a white Honda, but the only text is the tag.
Yeah. So it's not recording the car.
No, it's not a recording. It's a snapshot in time. Correct, sir.
Also, what I've done, as I mentioned this earlier, in my research, there was a documentary done, where they say that these cameras can read, correct me if I'm wrong, that they can read 2,000 license plates in 1 minute.
Mark, you have an answer to that?
These devices can do incredible things. When it comes to 2,000 devices in a minute, I don't want to provide an answer because I don't know the answer myself, but I'm sure an engineer on my team can probably answer the device capabilities. What I can tell you is that if a vehicle goes by the camera, a snapshot is taken of the back of the vehicle. I just want to be very mindful how I answer that. I don't want to say there's 2,000 vehicles lined up, so it's going to take them all. But if the vehicle passes, we're able to take a snapshot of the back of it.
The standard area of deviation would be 1 in every 10 license plate would be misidentified. Pray the Lord, the person that gets misidentified, who's going to bail that cat?
Well, again, you're saying misidentified, but the onus is on the police officer who further investigates. This is just a tool. Nothing happens after that snapshot happens, because that just gives the police officer an investigative tool to go further in their investigation. Like I just said, we'd have to verify with dispatch. We have to locate the vehicle and then verify it. It's not there's nothing happens after it gets misidentified. We have to, as far as law enforcement, have to confirm it. So there's no actions that are taken until a law enforcement officer takes action and confirms that information. If that makes sense.
I hope so. But then again, I talk about the word mission creep, and I've mentioned that to you before. You might be all well and good right now, but in the future, who knows where this is going.
That's why that's set forth in our policies and our procedures as far as the police department. And that's covered under our accreditation.
Oh, I support our police department 100%.
And we
I'm so
appreciate
glad
that, of course.
You take the time to protect us. You do a super job. We're a pretty good community as far as having any really criminal issues. According to the reports that you've given us, I feel very safe in my neighborhoods and in my home. Also, what I've been able to do is the General Assembly of 2025, I'm sorry, they actually have 2 bills that are regulating license plate readers that were passed in the House committee. I gotta see how far they've gone. One is House Bill 20.
And 45?
And one is House Bill what?
House Bill 45?
45, I've got House Bill 161.
There's House Bill 45 as well. I believe those are both stalled in there.
45 too, I'll
Yeah, but they're also going to have to go over the Kentucky Supreme Court that's already ruled on license plate readers. So, and that's Tract versus Commonwealth that shows that the legality of license plate readers is true and in fact. So that's been upheld in Kentucky State Supreme Court and the United States Supreme Court as far as Kansas versus Glover. So I know that there's cases that are going on and there's litigation that goes on, but that's the uphill battle that those are undertaking as well.
But see, when it goes to the Supreme Court, then what finally happens is that, we are states. We have our own state, and that's why we can make the rules and regulations that we do. And I have a difficult time when we have these rogue judges, pardon me if I'm going to speak on that one, basically making laws for what the states have basically made laws for. That's a big issue, which I can't get into that documentation. I don't have enough information, but I do know that I do feel like we should have somebody here that would be against it and address the council. And I've already talked to several legislators that said they would be glad to come here and discuss what they know about it, because they know a lot more about these bills than I do. And there was this representative, Mr. Hodgson. Have you heard of him?
I have not.
Well, that's his picture right here. You can pick it up on the paper. They're very concerned about how this could become a rogue type of situation for 24/7 surveillance of our cars.
Janine, if I could ask, what area is that representative from? What area of Kentucky?
What area is this gentleman from?
The gentleman that you just mentioned, the representative that said he was willing to come here.
Are you talking about this man in this picture
I'm
right here?
guessing that, yeah. What area of
Well,
our state is
our
it from?
legislators were all involved in this. They were from all of our representatives from this area. Kim Banfield's one. We have Kim
Where
Messer.
was he elected from? What area was he elected from?
Well, I suggest you look that up then.
You're the one that suggested his name.
But that doesn't necessarily
Yes, it
mean
does. It
that
represents an area.
he represents a given area,
Like you do.
because this is representing all of the people in the state
I
of
take my
Kentucky.
question back, Janine.
And that you must accept as a reality.
Don, did you have a question, sir? I did not. Okay.
I did have a question.
Sure.
Mark, I apologize if you can't hear me. I think the primary concern of folks who may not be attracted to the idea is privacy and the potential abuse of it.
Sure.
Since it's been in operation, if we could say 10 lawsuits have been filed against Flock for whatever, has there been successful litigation?
Mark, you might be able to answer that a little bit better. Me personally, I have not found any, but Mark, that's more maybe something you can answer, sir.
There's been multiple district court cases, judicial cases that have all had a strong precedent for license plate readers. And on the privacy side, the reason that these courts are deciding in favor of license plate readers as a better way is that the license plate itself is provided by the state. It's yours, but it's also the state's. And there's no, and Chief can speak to this, but the idea of privacy went in public. And so that's why a lot of these courts are following the way of the continued use of license plate readers. Now, I apologize. I really hope I heard all your question. I hope I provided a full answer there.
Did I answer your question?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
My opportunity is I just think both sides of the story need to be coupled. Sorry, did I overtalk you?
No, you're good. I was just gonna ask, so I heard somebody mention Bill Hills is gonna get the camera system,
They are looking at having 5 cameras, yes, sir.
5 cameras?
Yes.
Is that, so entry, exit points?
Of the city, correct. And one that's a high density area.
So what would you suggest as far as Crescent Springs, as far as how many cameras we need?
3. And the 3 cameras that I had suggested are one at I-75 in Buttermilk, for obviously, and that's a wide range camera, or long range camera. Sorry, Mark, I misspoke on that one, which covers a lot more area since obviously that area is a lot wider. The other location would be in the area of Anderson and Western Reserve as going towards into Erlanger, and the other area would be Bromley, Crescent Springs Road and Amsterdam as it exits out to the city as well, and entrance.
So where did you say you were going to put the cameras?
Buttermilk and I-75,
Yeah.
Western Reserve and Anderson, and in the area of Amsterdam and Bromley, Crescent Springs
They
Road.
get me every time.
That's kind of the point of it. Unfortunately, just to, it's not just you, but it's not you, it's your vehicle. It's the tag. So it's obviously trying to be a force multiplier for us, an investigative
Well,
tool.
if you see a license plate that's maybe updated, they haven't renewed their registration, you catch those people and.
It has nothing to do with this system at all.
Is that a possibility that it could do that?
It'll capture the tag, but it won't tie in to say that it's not going to notify us that's an expired tag. That's not what the use of the system is at all. And even if it is, that's a violation in law, okay, that's set forth by Kentucky law that a police officer has to physically observe before he can take any action on.
Can you go back and watch the video feed?
All we can do is we can query, let's say we have a tag, we can query white Hondas during this time frame, and it'll, the tag.
Just the tag?
The tag in the back of the vehicle, the snapshot that it has.
Yeah, so like a zoomed in of the license plate, that's it?
Yeah, that's all it's going to show.
It doesn't show you a 5-second snapshot of them driving, nothing?
No, sir.
It just shows you the license plate?
That's correct, sir.
Yeah, there is no video capability. It's just, imagine you're going through a camera roll on a disposable camera. So there's no 2-second video or 20-second video. Just as Chief mentioned, just snapshots, still snapshots.
Yep. Okay.
Can you refresh my memory, what is the storage amount?
Mark, what is the storage on that?
No, I mean,
sorry.
otherwise, how long are they?
I'm happy to send it to you. I hate to answer it this way, but it depends.
I'm sorry.
Like a camera that is set on a rural area is going to have all the storage in the world compared to a camera that's set on the busiest highway in the country.
I think the question was, Mark, how long is it stored? And it's 30 days. Is that what you're asking?
Oh, 30 days retention, yes. Apologies. 30 days.
And that is what's
I also
also
mentioned it's a
written in
rolling
KLC.
basis. So it's 30 days in 1 second. At that 1 second, it is gone forever.
Can that 30-day be, like, slowed up?
Okay, so Mark, and I'm going to speak on this, and correct me if I'm wrong, sir, but my understanding is if there is an investigation, ongoing investigation, there's a query on it, we can make a request to Flock that we hold that information for a time being, as far as whether it be through a search warrant or some other means. As far as, is that correct, Mark?
If there's an ongoing case, you can download that image,
And download it.
and so it would hold it there. But if there's any
still-
data that's not touched, it's 30 days, and that's it.
Does that help?
Going back a few years, we had a business that was robbed, and it was the photography business.
Mm-hmm.
If this equipment would have been in place, I know that case, the length of that case took a lot longer, but you ended up having a positive come from that case.
We did.
Could this assisted
100%.
making that quicker?
100%. And the reason that we were able to get a partial plate in that case was because one of our officers were lights and sirens to the car or to the call, and we were able to get a partial tag off of vehicles as he's going to the scene and his cars are leaving the scene. So that, and then on top of that, we used a Pfizer warrant to triangulate for, I'll not to get into too much, but as far as cell services and then cell phones in that area, which was all perfect, it's all legal, so but the FBI took over on that case, to be quite honest with you. But to answer your question, that tag would have been picked up, and it would have been able to help us hone in, hey, here's our time frame, here's the vehicles that went through that area. Now we have an investigative tool that would really have substantially, that case took 3 years to solve. And it would have greatly reduced it would have increased our efficiency, I'll put it that way.
Any other questions for Mark?
Am I good to go ahead and disconnect them?
Mark and Chief, I appreciate your time and the presentation here, and we'll be back in touch as we have more discussion.
Mark, I appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Have a great night.
And I will apologize. This was absolutely working through the audio up and through here, so I don't know what happened to be on that. So
Technology is great thing.
when it works.
Thanks, Chief. Last item on the caucus agenda is public comments. Anybody have a comment?
PDS is going to have their council meeting on budget. That will be May the 15th on a Thursday, and I will be attending.
Okay.
And then I did get information from Mr. Daly that Rob Himes from PDS will basically discuss, come and talk to us about code enforcement. And also, Communication Transparency Committee has not called a meeting. I would request the chair call a meeting for us in June.
We will be having a meeting.
Was that again?
We will be having a meeting.
Super. Look forward to that. Thank you, sir. And also another thing too, and I didn't know if these are other people that have called me. The playground in the park where the playground was supposed to be, sticking up a little bit.
We cannot do anything until we're given the grant.
Yeah, but I mean, there's weeds and the yellow fence is coming down and the sign is starting to peel.
We'll try to have somebody do something.
Yeah, we're going to have our service on the end from Memorial Day service there. There will be other people coming, and I think we should kind of step it up a little bit.
I'll see what we can do.
I think that's a very important thing to do. Because I think the Boy Scouts or the Scouts will do their flag retirement there that day, that time. Because we should have a nice crowd.
Mr. Flaherty, did you have something?
Yeah, I have a suggestion.
Can you come up, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Suggestion. Sitting in the audience, the flock presentation could have been more clear, and the audio could have been more clear, and the slides, the fonts were kind of small, and I could not really read them. So my suggestion is for any of the people that watch it on the city website, that the presentation be posted so that people can hear it and see it.
Yeah, we'll get the chief to give us that PDF for that presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? All in favor?